A van going down the street is showing a huge placard. The message is far from sweet, provocative and hard. The song that the racist sings denies our diversity, distinct but concentric rings in life's university.
Sisters, brothers and friends, thank you for inviting me to this important conference on mapping the controversial Go Home immigration campaign and granting me the privilege of speaking to everyone here.
Our brother, all our caring and our sharing, differencism is not seeing. Let's be daring and start declaring that everyone's a human being. Look, there's an alien trespassing up on my patch. The police should be jailing anyone they could catch. The future's looking bleaker if you need a place.
I want to generate some discussion, so any thoughts that come to mind before we start asking questions. I don't necessarily want you to ask the questions of the speakers. I would rather the speakers have thrown out a number of comments. If you can pick up those comments, then that would be great.
Through the prism of skepticism, we learn to distrust our brother. All our caring and our sharing, differencism is not seeing. Let's be daring and start declaring that everyone's a human being.
When the Go Home vans happened, we got a bunch of academics and activists together and did a street survey in the immediate aftermath, just to try and get opinions.
Nation, many tribes took a hand. The Celts and the Romans came, Saxons, Vikings.
So it was among people who were worried about immigration in the first place too. Who said, you know, this is a quote from a focus group in Bath Dagenham that Yasmin did, talking about, okay, we see these things, we see these pictures of people being put in vans, but it's just theatre. So even there, this kind of toughness wasn't reassuring the public that immigration was not a problem.
All our caring and our sharing,
my name's Bridget Anderson and I'm from Compass, that's the Centre on Migration, Policy and Society, which is a research centre based at the University of Oxford, but I don't have an extensive campaign.
So what I'll do now is I'll talk a little bit about the kind of resistance that was provoked, because we found that, our fourth finding is that these sorts of hard-hitting immigration campaigns also ended up provoking new waves of activism, and there was a lot of anger and outrage that was expressed in response to the campaign, and some of this was expressed online, and some of this was expressed through street protests, and this also drew in a lot of people who hadn't really been involved in activism before.
Because differencism, like a schism, divides us from one another. And through the prism of skepticism, we learn to distrust our brother. All our caring and our sharing, differencism is not seeing. Let's be daring and start declaring that everyone's a human being. Let's be daring and start declaring that everyone's a human being. Thanks very much.
We've got 3 performances that are going to show different aspects, both of the research and some of the questions and issues that we're tussling with.
You think that's fair? No, I don't think it's complicated. Love. Is it fair? Yes or no? With the greatest fucking respect, love, you're not answering the question, are you? Oh, you'll ask my questions. You'll ask me questions, but you don't want to answer any of mine, do you? I walk into your house, right? And I've got TB. And you've got kids, so you know what it's like. Maybe some of your friends have got a little boy like mine, little disabled boy like mine, and I come into your house and I'm coughing and I'm spluttering all over the place with TB. Now, is that fair? Is it fair? Is it fair, though? Answer the fucking question! For you, researcher, for you. I will get buses and walk miles for you. Smile for you, spill bile for you. Tick boxes and sign forms, not knowing what to expect from you. When the red light's flashing, get ready, get set, go for you. Say that again for you. Again for you. This time a little louder into the mic for you. Come over a bit giggly, a bit posh, talk some tosh for you. Reminisce, curse, lie for you. Break ice, banter and rehearse. Stutter and sigh for you. Unlock what I didn't know I knew, I now know for you. A squidgy fruit squeeze, I bleed stories for you.
I'd like to abuse the chair and say that I'd really agree that my sense of this project and others, and just from being in the world, that speaking to people who think they have less power than you, whether or not they do, in a way which even has a sniff that you're trying to educate them, is politically not very effective.
Do you remember what happened in Rwanda? 800,000 people were murdered during the genocide war. Women, men, and children perished in the genocide. Perhaps 3/4 times of the Tutsi people were perished also. At least 1,000 Hutus were also murdered because they opposed the killing, which was forced by the forces. I had to flee my country. I came here to seek for protection, but I was detained. I was treated with discrimination. I ended up in detention without trial. Without trial. I don't recognize my country and people anymore. It would be impossible to go back to live at the same place where the horrors and the terrors happened. I'm just here to rebuild a free life, just to live like any other normal person. I'm here not to see any of the other corners of the streets, the farms, the houses, the corners which were colored with blood of my fellow family, my community, and my fellow Rwandese. I'm here just for safety. I'm just here for safety. But I wonder when this nightmare will finally stop. Why did they agree on protecting human rights and morally torturing us all with the silly Go Home campaign at the same time?
What is humanity? What is civil liberty?
"62 suspected immigration offenders arrested. There were studies of local areas where people protested. You can't believe government statistics on immigration. Their campaign is to cause anxiety within the nation. The big debating was so intense as we all tried to make some sense of the mapping immigration conference. Only 24% of the public knew about the ban. Of them, 35% were unhappy with the plan. 15% thought illegal immigration widespread, while 500,000 Brits overstaying in Oz goes unsaid. The debating was so intense as we all tried to make some sense of the mapping immigration conference.